How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's workshop. Boys, I'm glad you dropped in today. We have a woodworking project in the shop today. I'm going to build a little bench. Just, I don't know, maybe 3.5, 4 feet long. You know, a miniature bench. Sit in there. We can put some lawn ornaments on it, some flower pots, so on and so forth. So, that's what the project is. Going to build a little bench. Okay, we're getting ready to cut wood now to start making this little ornamental bench. And what I have some just branded flooring, pressure treated branded flooring. It's 5/4 by 3.5. I've got 2 pieces 12 feet long, and I've got 4 pieces 10 feet long. One of the things I struggle with when I'm doing woodworking projects is making that first cut. I don't like to make that cut because I'm afraid it might be wrong, and if it's wrong, then I have another piece of wood that has to go in this pile that's getting unmanageable right now. And the old adage is, you know, measure twice, cut once. Well, I've done that, and I've still made wrong cuts. It's a talent I have. But, so anyways, you know, that's just, I'm bearing my soul here, folks, so, but I struggle with that first cut. So I'm trying to get as most efficient as I can at making my cuts with this wood. So I'm going to measure this, this first piece I have to cut in 3 4-foot lengths. So that's what I'll do. So in all total I need 7 4-foot lengths. So I'm going to get another board, do exactly the same thing with it, another 12-footer, and then that'll give me 6 of them, and then I'll work on the 10-footers. So here's a 10-foot stick now on the bench. And one thing I found about cutting wood over the years, to try to make myself less, you know, timid to cut the wood, if you cut your long pieces first, it seems to work out better. So I've already laid out the 12-foot sections, cutting those in thirds to make the 4-foot pieces that I need. I need 7 4-foot pieces altogether, so I'm going to mark off another 4-foot piece here. And then there's a 38-inch piece that I need. So 48 and 38 is 78, 86. And then I need a couple of 15s. So then I end up with a piece of scrap in the end here 4 inches long. So I can live with that. So that's good use of this 10-foot stick. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Lay out the wood that way to try to make the best use of the wood as I can and develop the least amount of offcuts. I'm not going to call them scrap, I'm going to call them offcuts. Cutting all that wood, I ended up with this little 4-inch piece and a 68-inch piece. So, not bad. Okay, we have our pieces cut here. These are rough dimensions that I put on these. So what I have to do now is figure out what the actual dimensions are. And because this is the bench where the legs will be on an angle, we're going to have to cut some angles on here. So how do we figure out those angles, you ask? Well, I do have a plan. So you can see that. That's what the bench is going to look like. So this back comes down on an angle. The legs are splayed out. But these 2 cross pieces here are parallel and horizontal. 2 inches off the ground to the bottom of the first one, and 14 inches up to the top of the second piece. So it's going to lay those out just right now. I'm going to measure the middle of this, which is 11 inches, because it measures 22, and the middle of this one is 10 inches, because it's 20 inches long. So then, if we set our square on here, making sure that this is square, we can line up those center lines, and then our legs are going to go here. So a little bit of fussing and farting. There, that doesn't look too bad, just like that. So we do the same thing with the back one, something like that. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to cut these off here. So we'll just mark them. So here at the miter saw, I have this set up, and if you can just see that, it's kind of hard to actually sight that up, but that's pretty darn close right there to that angle. And then when you look here at the gauge, if you can see that, that's 10 degrees, right? So because that read 10 degrees there, that means all those angles should be 10 degrees because they're all symmetrical. Even the back should be 10 degrees. So that's what we're going to cut them up. I set the miter saw now to 10 degrees. We're going to cut those pieces. I'm going to put some PL on here, line her all up good, and screw it together. Okay, so now we're going to put these back on here carefully, wiggle them around a little bit. What I have is, I've got a piece of, just an old piece of wood here that happens to be 2 inches wide. I'd like to put that on the bottom here to line these up. This bottom piece I'll line on the center line, the top's on the center line, and now put the legs where they should be, flush with the bottom of this, flush on here, flush on here, flush on there. This is 1 inch stock we're using, so I'm going to put together with 1 3/4 inch screws. Looks good. Okay, so there's one leg side. Now I'll do the same with the other, and then I'll put the back braces on. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple of marks on here, just so I know where to put my PL, and then I'm going to drill some pilot holes. Mount this up, make one opposite to this for the other side. Okay, I've taken my legs and just put a clamp on each leg here, just to hold them up straight. Okay. There's one other piece that goes together, and this is it's called a cross. I guess on the plan it's called a cross brace. You can call it whatever you want, I suppose. But this is going to go right in here to hold everything together, right? So then we just line this final piece in here. So to help me line up my planks here, my slats, they need to have a 3-inch overhang on either side. So I have a piece of 3-inch wood here and just put a little lip on it, clamped it on the edge of the bench. So now I can just slide my board straight up against that. Okay, we know that this back slat goes right tight against the back, the seat backs. So we'll just wiggle that around a little. Check the dimension again here. This is supposed to be 42 from edge to edge. Moved a little. And then we put our slat back against the braces and against this edge. Screw her in. Put the front one on next, just to get that spacing, so we'll know what the spacing is in the middle. So smear those in there good. Check our dimension again. 42. And then I'm going to overhang this 3/4 inch. Better put the cheaters on for this one. 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch. And then we put that tight against our edge. So just eyeball them, eh? Something like that. And they're tight against here. So that looks good. And then we can put some screws in these guys. So we're laying the back slats out here now. I've got them overhung here again by 3/4 of an inch on both sides, and then just equally spaced them there. And the spacing here to the edge of the seat slat is 5 inches, so I just make all those 5 inches. I put some marks on here for some pilot holes, so I'm going to drill some pilot holes. I wasn't going to drill pilot holes because it's so far back on the stick, but I thought, what the heck. And then I'll put a little smear of PL on that, and we'll be good. There it is, all done up. Nice little miniature bench. Real people could sit on it, I suppose, besides squirrels. But I expect Nannie's going to have lots of plants on it. Now, one other thing Nannie had made, she had gotten some rocks around, because we got lots of rocks, and she painted all the grandkids' names on them, right? And then she put them in the lawn chair, and she got me to make a sign for it. So what she's planning on doing is putting the rocks with the grandkids' names on it on this bench again. Maybe put a flower pot here and there, flower pot in the middle. But the sign that I made, I saved, and you've probably seen that sign before, but this is the sign I'm going to put on here. Our grandkids rock, because she has our name painted on the rocks. And our grandkids do rock. And also, our great-grandchildren rock as well. We have 3 great-grandchildren now. 8 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. Unbelievable. And we're not even old yet. Our grandkids rock. And it'll hold 2 people. 1 big person and 1 small person. So what do you think, Nannie?
I love it.
That girl.
Thank you, thank you.
You're easy to please. So Nannie did her magic. And she came out and she dressed up the garden bench. Zach and Rachel are brother sister. Ryan and Kyle are brothers. Logan, Garrett, Elsa and Bridget are brothers and sisters. Elsa and Bridget are twins, actually. It's a pretty nice looking bench. Oh, and I put it on some concrete patio stone there too, just to keep it from sinking into the grass and try to keep the grass from growing under it so it's easier to mow around for Nannie. So we made up that little, I'm going to call it a miniature garden bench to put in front of the bench, the deck there, for Nannie to decorate with some plants and put those rocks with the grandkids' names on them. I think that's kind of neat. I like that. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little project. A couple of intricate cuts there. Well, not intricate. You had to cut them at 10 degrees. Lay them out. Well, that's a little bit of a chore perhaps, but it doesn't have to be dead on, eh? Like, you're not making furniture. Don't ever forget that. You're just making an ornament to put out in the yard. And like the guy says, wow, your bench has got a lot of mistakes in it. And what I like to say is, hey, my bench is so pretty you can hardly see the mistakes. Anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, wow, I'm so glad you dropped in. I hope you enjoy being at Grampie's workshop, because I post videos here a couple of times a week, so come back often, and don't forget to thumbs up me. In the meantime, all my regular viewers, I sure appreciate you dropping in and commenting, and I try to respond to each and every one. So take care, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.